Here they
Oh,
come.
wow. Hey, I love this part.
That never gets old.
I know. It could never happen in real life. This many people come through the door at one time.
Right. It is just like every single
Oh,
time. It delights
oh
me
yeah.
just to see all these
Renee,
like little squares pop up on.
Patty. Hey, Kara, how you doing?
Ah,
Donna, Jenny.
hello,
Oh, look at
hello.
y'all. Sheila. Sheila's
Jocelyn.
got something tasty in there, I bet. Oh,
Me too, Sheila.
wow. Cindy,
Hi, Kimmy.
Marge, Karen. Hey,
Oh, warm
Bonnie.
Arizona. Nice. Donna's in warm Arizona.
Yeah, it's warm
Welcome,
here
welcome.
too.
Oh, everybody's
I
still.
learned a lesson this morning. It never occurred to me that some liquid that we would ship from here might freeze. That was a lesson I learned this morning.
Oh my goodness, from you. I
We
never
don't
would have.
ship chocolate. We don't ship chocolate from here after April because it'll be too warm. So I always think of that, but I never thought about something freezing. So we
Wow.
learned that lesson.
I once had a shipment of soak come from Canada in the wintertime and it completely froze and exploded all over inside of the box. And it was just a sticky, gooey, soapy mess. It was horrible.
So I feel for you
Welcome.
guys that are in the winter. That shows you my ignorance of the cold.
Hi, Karen.
Oh, Judy and Sarah. Hey,
Oh, this is
Robert.
fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have, as always, a little welcome poll. So I'm going to share that with you right now.
I love these
And
questions.
there's 3 questions if you just want to go through. They're just fun questions. We'll give it a few minutes as people filter in to answer the poll, etc. Cindy says it's 29 in Minnesota. It's real Oregon right now here. It's 43 and kind of drizzly.
It's like maybe 68 here.
In Chicago,
68
winter's
is good.
gone, the ice has gone away today and this week.
The ice
Can
is
you
kind of
hear
away, I
me?
think is what she said.
Can you hear me?
Faint.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me? It's gone away. It's going to be warm. It's going to be 40 this week. And it's
40.
Warm.
dead at 0.
Oh, this is fantastic. Nobody's been to the big Texan so far.
Oh,
Ah.
Amalia's even warmer than we are. She's 75 in Gainesville. Wow.
Oh, Albuquerque. I'm going to go to Albuquerque in a couple months. So excited. I've never been. Hello, hello. I'm reading through. If you want to see, open up your chat to see all of the hellos from everybody and from where they're at. It's fun just to see all the different places everybody is.
Where's Janet?
We'll tell you about that in a second. But it's nice that you noticed.
Yeah, I did right away.
It is so fun. I just love that we are all over. Everybody is we are all over the US.
I do too.
East to west.
And see, I've never heard of Carol Stream, Lori, so that's interesting.
I know. Okay. Carol Stream. Yeah, near Chicago. I haven't heard of that either. Nantucket, San Diego. Okay, there we go. 2 like opposite corners. Yes. Wendy's in a car outside a mall while her kids inside with friends. That's fantastic. Oh man. Okay, we'll just give it another minute or so with the poll. It looks like almost everybody's answered. And I love these answers. It's so great.
Yeah. And Aurora's been to the area, but not been to the restaurant.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Originally from South Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and end the poll and share the results with everyone. So
Look,
we've got nobody who's been to the Big Texan, which is, I think, awesome. Like we're all virtually visiting through through basically a postcard and a recipe, but and then half and half on who has eaten their snack and who is still saving it. So that's a lot of restraint. I'm
Yeah.
gonna and then have you started? We've got a really good mix, mostly no, like half of you know. Some have wound the yarn, some have started, some have finished. Woo, good job. And some are making something else. So I like that it's a kind of a broad mix there. Okay, let's see
all
here.
right.
I'm gonna pass it over to Cadence.
Okay, well, welcome to the first stop of the Route 66 Good Vibes Tour. Janet, Sarah, and I planned this when we were together this fall, and we were trying to think of where did we want to go. We've always had a theme, so we were really excited. We felt like we, really hit gold when we picked Route 66. So we are your hosts and the founders of the Good Vibes Yarn Tour. I am Cadence. I'm the proprietress here at Fuzzy Goat in Thomasville, Georgia, down in the southwest corner of the state, just over the state line from Tallahassee. And we kind of specialize in whimsy and attainable projects and just really delighting you. And today, our other founder, Janet, is dealing with an unexpected family emergency. So she's going to be back with us soon. We miss her dearly today. Her store is String Theory, and it's in Glen Ellen, right outside of Chicago. And she specializes in sustainable yarns, really from all over the world, and has a real mission about the yarns that she chooses. And then we have Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and I'm the owner of Not Another Hat in Hood River, Oregon, in the heart of the scenic Columbia River Gorge. And we are heading into our 18th year of business, which is weird and mind-boggling and unbelievable all at once. So the next thing that we're going to have you all do is kind of get to know each other a little bit better in a breakout group. So I'm going to send you all to some breakout groups. You'll see a little notice come up on your screen inviting you to a group, and just go ahead and click join. And we'll give you all a few minutes to get to know each other. We want you to also share your favorite project from the last 6 months. It doesn't have to be finished. It could be something you're working on currently, but if you've got a finished one to share, that would be great. It's more about just offering inspiration to your fellow group members on things they may not have seen or encountered yet. So 1 second here. Oh, let's see. First person to talk, because it's always hard to figure that out in a group with a bunch of people you're meeting for sometimes the first time. Person with the longest hair, all right, gets to start the conversation. So 1 second here while we go to some breakout rooms.
You've all got tape measures handy, right?
Right, to measure your hair. Okie dokie here. Let's head on over and open. So I'm not sure. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome
Yay.
back.
All right. I hope you guys got some inspiration and found some cool projects and got a little love for your own project that you're working on, right? That's what I just love about us knitters is we share and cheer each other on. And even if we only see each other in a little square on a computer, we're just really, I think, generous people by nature.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for playing along.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Come back in.
On that topic, Cadence, Patty Chartrand has been posting finished objects like crazy because she's been blocking them, and I've put like 10 things in my favorites in the last
Yeah.
like,
Right?
Yes.
That Patty's made.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We have just a few of you guys have your video muted, and so that is fine, but we also want to encourage you. We love to see your face, so you can do that. And I think most of us now know about muting our sound so that we don't have the errant dog barking, or my husband's famous for turning on the garbage disposal at inopportune times. And if, of course, if you have any questions along the way, put them in the chat over there on the side, and we're all looking at those to see what we might be able to answer for you as we go along. And now we're going to turn to Sarah to talk about this box, this fabulous box that we got.
Yay. Okay, so to kick everything off, I found a fun little video about Route 66 that I would like to share with you all. So I am going to share my screen and let's see here. Share my sound. All right.
It's been called many things. The Main Street of America, the Will Rogers Highway, Route 66. John Steinbeck, in his 1939 novel The Grapes of Wrath, called it the Mother Road. Regardless of what you call it, Route 66 had humble beginnings before it became the most iconic road in America. It was a hodgepodge of roads, many of which were dirt tracks. But its history is deep, with portions even dating back to the Trail of Tears in 1830. In 1857, the War Department ordered Lieutenant Edward Beale to build a government-funded road along the 35th parallel. Before the national network of numbered highways came into existence, auto trails were used. These were typically maintained by private organizations in the early part of the 20th century. Legislation for public highways started in 1916, with a more complete version passing in 1925. Cyrus Avery, dubbed the father of Route 66, was instrumental in breathing Route 66 into existence. He planned it, he promoted it, and eventually, he got it paved. Avery named it the Main Street of America, and that moniker stuck, encouraging shops and stores to pop up along the road, especially along the main streets in the towns it snaked through. Route 66 was advertised as the shortest route between the Great Lakes and the Pacific Coast. It reduced the distance between Chicago and LA by more than 200 miles. It was also a scenic route going through the Ozark region, the Texas Panhandle, and the Grand Canyon in Arizona. The timing was perfect. The automobile boom was well underway. In 1910, there were 180,000 registered vehicles. By 1920, that number had just jumped to 17 million. Cars changed so much about daily life here in America. Cars were easy and fast. Horses took too much prep time. Cars offered more flexibility than trains. And cars also provided freedom. They changed family life, jobs, and the ability to just explore. Anyone could own a car now. To help promote this new cross-country road, they held a race in 1928. Athletes ran, that's right, ran from coast to coast. A 3,400-mile marathon with 2,400 miles of it on Route 66. It was called the Bunyan Derby. 199 men started it. Just 55 crossed the finish line. Several dignitaries greeted runners along the way, including actor Will Rogers. In 1932, there was an ad in the Saturday Evening Post encouraging Americans to take Route 66 out to LA for the Olympic Summer Games. For thousands of Americans during the Depression, Route 66 also became the road of opportunity as they made their way to California in the hopes of a better life. This includes the thousands of families that had to leave their farms due to the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. Route 66 is forever immortalized, thanks to the 1946 hit song, Get Your Kicks on Route 66. written by Bobby Troup. After serving in World War II, he headed to Hollywood in hopes of making a career out of songwriting. He was so inspired while traveling along the route that he started writing lyrics about the road. It was first recorded by Nat King Cole and would be covered by various artists over the years, including Bing Crosby and the Rolling Stones. It was also a TV show aptly named Route 66. It ran from 1960 to 1964. It featured two traveling drifters, played by Martin Milner and George Maharis, who met a wide range of characters during their travels. President Eisenhower's good intentions for building highways would actually be the demise of Route 66. You see, President Eisenhower was impressed by Germany's Autobahn highway network during the war. It gave them a strategic advantage, he thought. President Eisenhower had also traveled in a U.S. military motor convoy from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco in 1919. It took a whopping 62 days. With both of those experiences firmly rooted in his mind, he signed the Federal Aid Highway Act in 1956. This established the 47,800-mile interstate highway system in America, and thus making Route 66 essentially obsolete. His intentions were twofold. One, it could and would benefit military operations. And two, it would fuel economic growth. Interstate 40 would eventually take over much of the route, and Route 66 fell by the wayside. It was decommissioned by the federal government in 1985. Thankfully, though, some nonprofit groups rose up and realized the importance of this historical road in the history of the U.S. They were determined to preserve, protect, and promote this iconic road. Their efforts were successful. Today, there are signs up acknowledging the pathway of Route 66. Through many towns across the country, you can see them, and that pathway is dotted with landmarks and historic buildings, many of which are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Route 66 is even labeled a national or state byway in some parts. If you find yourself traveling through that part of the country, pick up a Mother Road Route 66 passport book. Some states, like Oklahoma, have their own Route 66 passport book. These give you great ideas of historical and fun places or businesses to stop and explore and to get a stamp. It's a bit like a scavenger hunt, if you will. It helps to remember this iconic road. It helps to keep history alive. Keeping history alive is what we try to do here at Memory Mountain. If you enjoyed this video, please click to subscribe to our channel and hit that thumbs up button.
Stop that there. I hope you enjoyed our little tour. This video stuck out to me in particular because obviously you've seen by now I named the beanie the Mother Road beanie, and The Grapes of Wrath was one of the first great novels to really impact me when I read that in high school. In fact, I asked my English teacher at the time if I could keep my copy of it, which was, distributed by the school. And I think he thought it was the weirdest request. And I just was like, but this is the one I read. I like this physical one right here. I would like to, can I buy it? And he was just like, sure. I don't know. Okay. So moving on, we are almost ready to meet our yarn artist for this box. And before we do that, I'm going to share with you all a little quick behind the scenes that Amy recorded for us. So let me get that opened up really quick here. All right, it's cute. And I'm going to share that.
everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for making such beautiful yarn for us. So everybody,
Yeah.
this is Amy Alexander. She is the dyer behind Polka Dot Sheep Yarns. She's also a local yarn shop owner. And I had the pleasure of meeting her pre-COVID in her shop, pre-move. It was in before you
That
moved,
was,
right?
yeah, that was in our temporary shop.
Yes,
We were there
yes.
for
You were
about
working
9
on it.
months.
Working
Yep.
on your space, yes.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. And can you start out by telling us a little bit about how you got into dyeing yarn in the first place?
Yeah. Well, from a crafter standpoint, I just wanted to try it out and have fun with it. But as from a business standpoint, I had been frustrated with the length of time it would take to order indie dyed yarns and when it would arrive. And I like to engineer ways to do things. My mind works that way. And I thought there's got to be a more efficient way to do this so that I could get yarn quicker. And yeah, it just kind of went from my garage and refining the technique into finally building the exact studio that I thought would be the smallest possible space with the most efficient output. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're behind the scenes. We've had several dyers come on and give us behind the scenes, and I am constantly impressed by the operation that goes into this yarn that we put on our shelves, and that our customers see, and they're like, "Ooh, pretty yarn," but there is just so many steps and so many, you can just tell that there are so many parts that have to move together to make that one single beautiful skein. So you're very, very good, I think, personally, at making custom colors or inspiration colors. Like if you go to Amy's website, you'll see lots of times, or follow her on social media, she has a picture that's inspiration and then like a palette that comes out of it, and just the most beautiful yarns. Can you tell us what that process is like?
Yeah, I love to work from photographs. I think that it's obviously the truest way to see a color, and work from there. I'll usually just think and dream about the photograph for a day or two, maybe more, depending on my schedule. And then I go to my own color library and think, okay, I think that needs a bit of this green and this blue. And then the last step is to work in what colors, because they always bleed. Somewhere you're going to get bleeding colors, and that can work or not work for you. And so that's always the last thing I think about. Okay, is this going to bleed and not create? And then I just give it a go. I usually will do 2 or 3 batches. I think with yours, we got it really quickly. We just got lucky.
Perfect.
And yours was interesting because those primary colors are hard to work with and keep them primary, because it's really easy to get purple in there, and the blue and green, the blue and yellow to get green. So we had to be really careful about putting, you got to use black or white between the layers so they don't bleed into the colors you don't want. And so that was fun. It was a challenge.
That I never even thought about that, because you did it so well. I'm like, I keep looking at my hat. That's what I'm turning my head towards. There is none of that muddying or anything happening in that. So you're very skilled at that. My last question that I had jotted down, just for me to ask, you kind of talked about already, which is your role as a local yarn shop owner influencing the yarn you choose to create. I think Cadence and I can certainly relate to that frustration of the process of waiting on indie dyed yarn, and how that would lead you to want to just make your own. And as someone who's ordered your yarn, you're so good with your turnaround times. Like, it just makes it so much easier and that's probably because you have that local yarn shop owner perspective. But are there other ways that kind of plays in with your business?
The time?
Yeah,
Well,
and just how like one influences the other and kind of vice versa.
yeah. Another way, just having the yarn shop influenced getting into that, is the special order. It's, as you know, it's impossible to stock 8, 12 skeins of every color you have.
Right.
And you want to provide that service to your customers. So I wanted to be able to create a way where we could get custom orders out within a couple days, and we did. One of the main ways I think that we've evolved more than other in a different way than other indies is we have we've invested in commercial cabinet dryers where the yarn actually hangs in a dryer. We now own 2 of them. So we could get our yarn from the dye pot, washed, rinsed, spun out of water in the dryer into the labeling rack within 45 minutes to an hour. And so, you know, when people ask us what our secret to being quick like that, it's the dryers. It really is. And so if you noticed how small our studio is and you scroll around, you can actually see the 2 dryers, and there's a small little hanging rack with a handful of skeins between them. So if you watch that video again slowly, you could take a note. The hanging rack is the only rack that we have that wet ones go on while they're waiting for their turn. So
That is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
And so simple.
And it kind of makes you wonder why more people haven't thought of or implemented it. Yeah, Julia just commented in the chat that she said she was expecting you to say a day or so. Not 45 minutes.
So Amy, I want to know how big your team is.
Yeah, we have right now, I have 2 pretty much full-time. I'm lucky to have flexible employees that have other things to do in life. But I have, 2 full-time dyers and myself. And then we have 4 other employees that kind of work more in the front of the house, the shipping and the phone call, everything else. And so it works pretty well. We're pretty much at it 5 days a week. If all 3 dyers are in the studio at once, we could, on a good day, put out probably on an average day about 250 to 300 skeins.
Wow, that's so impressive. I wanted to just put out there to everybody, if you have any questions for Amy, if you want to pop them in the chat. Let me ask you about your town, because I feel like we have kind of similar locations, these smaller but resortish towns where there's a lot of influx of people from outside visiting. Do you feel like that creates kind of a weird seasonality in the part of the business that's your local yarn shop?
Yes. Yep. I think it's on a fortunate end. I think we get a lot of traffic in the summer, which maybe isn't one of the bigger months for knitting and crocheting. So I think it helps us there for sure, because that's really our tourist season. I'm sure with you too.
Yes.
So we see our locals more in the winter, which is fun, and spring slow, but come summer, we get a lot of visitors, and many more and more people have actually heard of us and come in, and it's really fun. We enjoy it.
Fun. Yeah. I know that I would like to know more about the sweater you're wearing. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it's a Jennifer Steingass pattern called Garden Gate, and I knit it with Stumptown DK. In the orange is Anaconda, which is a town name in Montana, and the dark purple is Fig.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's see. Rob's got a question. What's your process for custom orders? Do you have a color wheel, or people just say what they're looking for? He's kind of curious to learn more about maybe how you put that together.
Sure. Well, for our custom orders, it's really only for yarn shops. We don't do individual custom orders.
Got it.
Yeah. What we do oftentimes, we have what we call free spirits, and as we're playing with colors, we might graduate through a spectrum before we start to put that in our repeatable catalog. And those colors we call free spirits, and we put them on our website as flock deals. But yeah, it does require a little too much work to offer that service individually at this time.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Any other questions? I haven't seen any, and I don't think I've missed. I'm gonna scroll real quick. Okay. Do you have any other last thoughts or anything, or we've covered a lot?
I'm just so delighted to have been part of this project, the Route 66, and yeah, and the hat you designed is amazing.
I'm going to talk about that in just a second. There is one more question that popped up. They want to know how you get the look of the color on the outside, but less or more transparent on the lighter on the inside, like the yarn that we had. And I think I suspect the answer to this, but I'll let you.
Yes. So when the dye hits the yarn, we call that striking, and it happens really quickly. The minute the yarn goes in the water, the dye just chemically connects to the fiber. And the particular yarn base that I used, Big Sky, it's such a thick plied yarn that the dye actually is just striking on that outside, and it doesn't even have a chance to get to the inside of the fiber. And so it's a ways, it's like a silver lining, really. It's, yeah, that happens because it's got its own beauty.
Yes, that's what I expected that you were going to say. And I agree. Yes. We have one more question, if you don't mind, asking if you source your fiber locally.
That is something we've been trying to do for many years, work with farmers locally. We've run into problems where their time and the quality of their fiber is, and milling it in small batches, it's, by the time it goes through different business chains, and we got it to you, the cost would be astronomical. Yeah. And I do meet with local dyers, local farmers, and we discuss it. And, you know, it's something we do want to make happen. It's just, I think it's just a matter of time before a light bulb goes off and we think, oh, this is how we can do it and make it work for everybody.
Yeah, I certainly can see how that would be the case, that it would just get more and more expensive as you each layer of the process.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday to join us for the show, and for making such beautiful yarn. I'm going to go ahead and unspotlight you and then talk about the yarn and the project. So thank you, Amy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the perfect segue for talking about this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. I have to tell you, when I reached out and Amy and I were like, I sent her some images, and then again, it was so fast. I think the next day she's like, okay, I have a couple of options for you. And I was like, oh, wow. And it was just a clear winner for me. This colorway so perfectly captured the brightness of that postcard and the look of that restaurant. And I knew it was taking a bit of a risk to send you all this like really super bright yarn, but I just couldn't turn it down. It just seemed so perfect with like kind of almost the kitschy nature of Route 66 and the memorabilia and everything else. And she paired it up with a few different options, and immediately I thought of doing something where the colors, the individual colors in this, Big Texan yarn would stand out against a more neutral backdrop. And that is how the Mother Road beanie was born. So I envisioned slip stitches moving somehow against the backdrop of the more neutral yarn. And after some swatching, this is what I came up with. So we had a great message from, I'm going to apologize now because I forgot who reached out. It was right after the boxes went out, and she had the idea that she would rather knit this as a cowl. And I think this would be a beautiful cowl. Absolutely would work. I would add a couple of repeats of 6 stitches to just give it a little bit more room to get over your head and drape just nicely and not be too tight. But you could just work the pattern And when you get to the start part you're supposed to decrease, you just repeat your ribbing down here, and that would be absolutely perfect as a cowl. So if you would prefer not to have a beanie like so, then a cowl is a great option. And of course, you can always do whatever you want with your yarn. We are not the project police here. We totally love seeing everybody's different interpretations of how they want their yarn to turn into a finished project. So if you have thought of doing something else with your yarn, or if you've just knitted as written, we would love to see the pictures and ideas in that Facebook group that we have. And Julia will share a link to the Backstage Pass Facebook group if you're not yet a member. Just follow that link and request to join and we'll get you right in there. So yeah, that summarizes the beanie. And then I thought at the end, it just needed a multicolor pom-pom. I just couldn't resist. So that's totally optional. If you saw Lee's post recently, she actually bought a yellow alpaca pom-pom from us and put it on top, and it looks fantastic, so that she could use her leftovers for maybe some mitts or a cowl to match. So I do have a fun little video for you all. Oh, wait, before I show you the video, I just wanted to say, if you didn't see the post in the Facebook group, there is 2 small errors in the pattern. One of them describes the slip stitch as slip as if to knit, and it's supposed to be slip as if to purl. That's on me there. And then there's another one. Oh, I have the wrong repeat for the increase section right here. So I did put those notes into the Facebook group, and they have been corrected on the pattern, which will be uploaded to Ravelry and then gifted to all of you. So be watching for that email. It'll look like it's coming from Ravelry. It says you've received the Mother Road beanie from Sarah, etc. And so then you can save it in your Ravelry library. If you're not on Ravelry, you can just click the link to download that. So that is going to be coming out. It'll have the 2 corrections already updated in the pattern. So okay, so before we move on again and talk about the other good things in the box, I did make a nice little technique video for you all that shows you how to do that right slip cable without a cable needle. So let me open that up and share my screen here. Hello! In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the right slip cable and the right cable in the Mother Road beanie without a cable needle. And at the end, we're going to throw in that right slip cable decrease you have to do at the top of your hat. So here we are. I have begun my pattern. I'm through 1 repeat, and I'm beginning my second entire repeat of the pattern. So we're going to work up here to our next right slip cable. This is a 1-to-1 cable. And the fun thing about it is you don't actually have to knit both of the stitches in your cable, because one of them is just being slipped. So here we are. We're ready to do a right slip cable using these 2 stitches here. We'll be moving the slip stitch here over into this space. And so this is how we do it without a cable needle. We're going to take the tip of our right needle and insert it into the front of our stitch that needs to be slipped, just like that. We only have that second stitch there caught on our right needle. And then we slide both up close to the tip, and as we remove both front 2 stitches, we're pinching with our forefinger and our thumb of our right hand, just like that. So that stitch is now free and loose, but it can't really go anywhere because I've got it securely pinched between my fingers, and it's just right here, ready for me to scoop it up with my left needle tip. Now the beauty is, this is a slip stitch. We don't have to do anything with it. It's now in the place it needs to be. All we have to do now is knit the stitch that we just put onto the left needle, and we're done. So we slip this guy here and we knit, and let's do 1 more of these to show you. So we'll knit our 3 to get to the right slip cable. And here we are again. So we're going to go into the front of the second stitch on the needle, which is the stitch we're slipping, and grabbing it with our right needle tip, scoot both up to the tip and slide them both off. This one's dangling in the wind, but it's secure because we're pinching it, and all we have to do now is slip the tip of our left needle in and catch it. It's all secure. This is all done. That's all we have to do here is move it over to the right needle, and then we just knit this one. Nice and easy. So, oh, and I got to slip this one. So you can perform that all the way every time that it is called for, the 1-to-1 right slip cable.
We go into the front of the stitch, slip both of the first 2 stitches off of our needle, just grab that one right there with the left. This one is already done, and knit the one we just grabbed. Voila. Okay, so let's speed up through our next repeat, and we'll do it one more time. And we slip. Okay, now that we've covered the right slip cable, let's pretend we need to do the right cable. So let me prep this to get this all set up to do the right cable. Okay, in rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5, we do those right slip cables. But in round 6, we're actually going to do a very typical straightforward 1-to-1 right cable. And if you've done cables without a cable needle before, you probably have that down no problem. But if you haven't, this is a great introduction to doing cables without a cable needle. So I'll walk you through it right now. So we're going to knit up to the 2 stitches. We have to do a right cable. And this is going to feel very similar to the slipped cable that we were just doing, but now you actually do have to knit both stitches. And so we're going to go into the front of our second stitch, and we're going to slide both off the needle. There's one free and clear, and we're just going to scoop it up. But the change now is that we need to put this one back on the left needle so we can actually, oops, I used the wrong color. Let me back up really quick. I'm supposed to have my contrast color here. Whoopsie daisies, come on. Undo, okay. Let me grab the right yarn. There we go. Round 6 is actually with our contrast color, so we are cabling with the contrast color. Now I have already replaced these 2 and put them in new order, so I get to just knit those. And now we have done a 1-1 right cable, crossed to the right, and we can move on. So here we go. We'll knit up to our 2 stitches that need the right cable, and I will demonstrate that again in the right yarn. Okay, here we are. Here's our 2 stitches. We'll slip into the front of the second stitch on the needle, slide both stitches 1 and 2 off the left needle, scoop up the first stitch, so now it's in its new spot, put this second stitch back on the needle, and we'll knit it. And there it is, our 1-1 right cable. Let's do one more time. We'll knit over to the next one here. And we go into the front of the stitch that had previously been slipped, slip both off the needle, grab the one that got free, put the slipped one back on, and knit the 2 of them separately. All right, there is our 1-1 right cable. And real quick now, I'm going to show you how to do the 1-1 right slip cable decrease. Okay, now we're going to pretend that I am in the decrease section at the top of the hat, and I'm going to demonstrate for you it's abbreviated decrease 1-1 RSC, which is right slip cable decrease. And I'm going to show you both with a cable needle for those of you that would prefer to use a cable needle, and then without the cable needle. So I've knit up to the area where I need to do the 1-1 right slip cable decrease. And the instructions with the cable needle say slip 1 stitch to the cable needle. So here I am, I'm going to slip this stitch to the cable needle, hold to the back. So this goes into the back. And then it says slip the next stitch to the right needle. So we'll move this one over. Return the stitch from the cable needle back to the left needle. So this now is going back to the left needle. I haven't done any knitting yet, just rearranging stitches using the cable needle. This is my slip stitch. It gets to just stay right here. And now I'm going to knit the next 2 stitches together. So the stitch I rearranged and the next stitch get knit together, just like that. So we've now decreased 1 stitch. So I'm going to knit up to the next repeat, and we'll demonstrate that without a cable needle. It's going to feel very similar to doing the regular stitch without a cable needle, the regular 1-1 right slip cable. So we'll go into the second stitch on the needle with the right tip of our the right needle tip, slip both of them off, just like that. Get that to focus, there we go. And then we'll scoop up the free stitch. Now this one is done, it gets to just sit here, but instead of just knitting this one, we're actually gonna do a knit 2 together into the next 2 stitches and make our decrease. And there you have it. I hope you enjoy knitting the Mother Road beanie.
All right, so hopefully that was helpful to people. And makes knitting the beanie, or maybe knitting the beanie again, or maybe just knitting cables easier in the future. So I am going to hand it over to Cadence to talk
Now,
about.
I know we have some finished. We saw one in the Facebook group. So you want to show us yours now, and we'll ring the bell for you.
Yay, I can see
Yay.
Lisa's on her head and
Get the-
Susan.
Get our
Woohoo!
bell going for you.
Oh yeah, and
Yippee.
Renee did one in other
Look at
yarn, and
that.
it's beautiful.
Look at that, Renee.
And oh, I just lost there. We go back. Jean's got one. Awesome, Susan. Yay, everybody.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Now I want to talk about the other things that were in the box. So let's talk about this tea towel, right? So I think, first of all, it's huge. It's fabulous. I think this would make a great wall decoration. My mom has done this with some other vintage tea towels, and I thought I'd tell you about it, where she used some invisible thread and some white muslin and made a little sleeve for it across it, and then hung up. She did that with an old Girl Scout tea towel. I think that would be perfect for this. But if I'm going to use it, it is also the perfect size for a road trip snack bag. I love it. I get, love my road trip food. And then there was like, where's the napkins? And there's never enough. So this would be the perfect situation for that. And we didn't necessarily plan it to be the same colors as the big Texan, but I just love the way it all goes together with the photograph and the inspiration and the yarn. The roasted corn, I can't show you because my daughter Carolina, she opened it up with me and she took it. So I don't know. We saw that several of you guys are saving yours, but about half of you have already eaten it. And then the Texas caviar recipe is so much fun. We love black-eyed peas down here. And so adding in some peppers and onions and all of that is just really a yummy thing to put on everything from hot dogs to just use it as a dip. So we're excited about that. Do we have any questions in the group? I'll let Sarah and Julia look to see if we have any questions, because while we do, I want to tell you to use your 20% off coupon at Not Another Hat. So you have that through Wednesday, the 15th, and on the insert that you have here has your coupon code, which is better than me reading it out and you remembering it. Just make sure you go here and look at that. And do we have any questions right now?
Someone is asking if we can buy more of this yarn, which actually brings us to one of our next announcements.
Okay.
I do want to say though that we had 2 comments about people's husbands loving the tea towel and one who hung it up in his office. So I think that you're on the right track about hanging it up. Rob asked if I would share the link to the technique video in the Facebook group, and I definitely will. It will also be in your replay email so that you can just save that email and have a link to that forever. So yes.
Yeah. We'd love to see more photographs in our Facebook group, more of you guys
Yes.
opening up the boxes and your project progress. That's hard to say. And like Sarah said, as you know, we are yarn shop owners before we're even pattern writers. So we love to see you do whatever you want with that yarn. So we're really inspired, and it helps us tell other people what to use with similar weight yarn. They won't have this yarn because they're not on the tour, but we love to see variations of that.
Yeah,
also.
definitely.
We want to thank you so much for being in our first stop on Route 66. It's so much fun to hit the road this afternoon, and we have a special prize to give away to all of you who attended today. One lucky winner will get a mixtape Good Vibes grab bag, and Sarah has put your names in a random generator while we've been visiting. So Sarah, who won?
1 second here. We've got it coming up, and it is Jocelyn Almiral.
Oh, excellent.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Jocelyn.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we will get that put together and shipped out to you.
Oh, our next show date is March 5th. So that seems really close because February is a short month. And t-shirts, we've ordered our t-shirts. I mean, we're getting ready to announce our t-shirts. We've picked the colors. We've got our fabulous Route 66 design. And so we'll be announcing those to have order and in coming up with also our Valentine's merch special. So
So
watch
yes.
your inbox.
Yes,
for
there
the-
is a few extra skeins available, and they'll be on the website and around, you know, the loving heart Galentine, Valentine, however you celebrate day. Yeah, so I
There's
think
one
that's
final,
everything.
there's one final question in the chat. Julie asked, didn't see any way to use credit card for, I'm not quite sure what she's referring to there. If Julie, maybe you can unmute yourself and ask.
Oh, I see it. Use a credit card.
Well, actually, we'll reach out to you, Julie, and we'll figure
Okay,
out
that's a
what
good
the
idea.
credit card option. We'll work out
Use
for
a
you
credit-
because
okay.
we want to make it easy for you. So
Yes.
thanks for
And
asking.
then Julia shared one last time a link to the Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, we would love to have you join the group because there's lots of fun things that get shared and go down in that group. Lots of good encouragement. So
Yeah.
Well, we
thank
went 3
you all.
minutes too long. I'm so sorry, everybody.
We had lots of good things to share.
Yes.
Plus our new winner too. So
Yes,
you all.
yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you at the next stop.
Bye.
Hi.
March will be here soon.